Okay, welcome back. So we've completed the first paragraph and we've discussed the first paragraph. So let's go on to the second paragraph. And in the second paragraph, I'm looking at the positive aspects, the good aspects. So everything in this the second paragraph is directed towards this approach. So I say right up front what I'm going to do. La publicidad responsable puede tener un buen número de aspectos positivos. Responsible publicity can have a good number of positive aspects. Now, we could have used the word muchos in here, but I quite like the word un buen número, which I've seen in certain places being a better and an alternative way to saying muchos. So this is what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I'm trying to get away from the commonly used words. Okay, so tomemos el caso de. This is a great way. Let us take the case of. So here, it's a lead-in. It's a nice little phrase that we can then use to develop the rest of the paragraph. Now what I suggest you do at this stage is perhaps you stop the video now and you read the rest of this particular paragraph, because what you can see is I've got a number of examples of publicity which is good, and these ideas I've actually got straight from the AS Spanish AQA Spanish textbook, and more particularly the materials which are available on Caboodle. And those ideas I've looked at and basically used them and moulded them in my essay here. So there we can see is in it. There's my first example. Existen, por ejemplo, anuncios de bebidas sin alcohol. And then I go on and I develop with a few more examples as well, which are not original examples. I've taken them from the textbook and I've taken them from Caboodle and I've just worked them into my essay. And as you can see, everything that I've written, there's no waffle, there's no waste. Everything is directed at answering the question. And that's one of the things that don't waffle, keep absolutely focused on answering the question. And this is exactly what I've done here. Everything is involved on the positive aspects of publicity. And I've just got some nice little phrases. There's another. No se debe olvidar. One must not also forget that publicity, and here is another example here, that publicity contributes to the success of companies, que la publicidad contribuye al éxito de las empresas. And of course this does help to maintain and create employment. So there I've got a solid, well-structured paragraph with all of the positive aspects, which I've researched from Caboodle and I have then put into my my paragraph number 2. I'm now going to pull the screen up a little bit more, and immediately in my third paragraph what we've got is a contrasting idea. So positive, and now I've got por otro lado, sin embargo, hay una cantidad de aspectos negativos de la publicidad. On the other hand, however, good connectives, good strong connectives, and it's clear to the reader that I'm now going to produce and give an alternative point of view. Hay una cantidad. Again, I'm trying to avoid hay muchos, so I'm saying hay una cantidad de aspectos negativos de la publicidad. And again, perhaps you'd like to stop the video and just read through what I've put. Here's my first example. El uso de estereotipos. That is straight from the textbook. The next one down is also more or less straight from the textbook. And by actually taking and extracting from the textbook, you know essentially that the textbook is correct, and you can use everything in there with fairly confidently that it's going to be correct and accurate. And of course, that's one of the things we're looking for. Although out of the overall mark scheme, accuracy perhaps is not marked that high, and it's well worth looking at the mark schemes. And what I might be doing in the future is perhaps doing a review of the mark schemes. Content is essentially very important, but if you can get into the idea of writing correctly, this is a good thing to do for A2 studies. Let's go down a little bit further down. And here's a nice little phrase: y ponte en el lugar de los niños. And put yourself in the place of children. And it goes on to develop that idea. But it's a nice phrase, again, showing a variation in phrases being used. And ponte is from the verb ponerse, so put yourself. And it's an instruction, and that's why the te is on the end of pon. Okay, so all of that paragraph, which I'm now highlighting, absolutely drives ahead, absolutely really drives ahead the negative aspects. Not a word is wasted. All of that is fundamentally talking about the negative aspects, none of which is original, as I say. I've taken it from the textbook and the caboodle notes. The next paragraph, which I'm highlighting now, is the balancing one. And you can see at the beginning I've got de una parte. So there we've got de una parte with one sentence, de otra parte on the one hand and on the other. And again, if you'd like to stop the video, you can see what I've done. I've got good structure. I'm saying on the one hand and on the other hand, de una parte, de otra parte. And then what I've just done in the final sentence is given a feeling of me inclino a decir que no estoy de acuerdo. So having given the positives and the negatives, you're now beginning to give the reader an idea of where your argument is going. And the highlighted piece on the screen there effectively gives your position away. Me inclino a decir que no estoy de acuerdo con la opinión que la publicidad no tiene ningún aspecto positivo. So let's go on to the final concluding paragraph. And here we've got, what am I doing? I'm pulling together. Para resumir. Okay? Para resumir, and what follows is absolutely the position. La publicidad que veo como positiva es la publicidad responsable. So there you're saying what you really think positive, how positive publicity can be responsible publicity. In other words, a positive it is a positive thing, which is in contrast with what is suggested, whether you're in agreement or disagreement, which is talked about in the essay title. And I then just pick out a nice advanced expression, habiendo considerado, having considered all the aspects. That is you moving into academic, intellectual writing. It sounds good in English, and it sounds equally good in Spanish. Having considered all the aspects, I then make a generalized comment, which again is straight from the textbook and from Caboodle. Este tipo de publicidad responsable tiene como meta informar o aconsejar. Okay, I've just taken that. It's a lovely phrase. This type of responsible publicity has as a goal, como meta, to inform, and to advise. So there we have it, a really tight, accurate piece of advanced writing. Then I developed the idea a little bit more. En pocas palabras, in a few words, hay enuncios afectivos que te hacen pensar de una manera diferente. So this is the positive aspect of publicity. Perhaps it does make you think in a different way. Think of those things about using seatbelts. All of those things have a really positive effect. And my final concluding sentence is an opinion. Creo que. We could have had any number of expressions there. Desde mi punto de vista, opino que, pienso que, me parece que, creo que. All of those phrases mean ways of saying I think. Creo que la publicidad responsable vale la pena. That last sentence there, or the last bit there, vale la pena, is worthwhile. A great expression, an advanced expression, valer la pena, to be worthwhile. So, in summary, I have a 5-paragraph essay. I think there's about 330, 350 words there, well over the top of the number count required, and an opening paragraph, good structure, positives, negatives, a balanced 4th paragraph, and then a conclusion at the end. All of it well structured, all of it with vocabulary and phrases which are not original, which I've taken, which I've played with, which I've manipulated and put into Spanish. So, I hope you found that informative. I will be producing a series of these, and please don't hesitate to get in contact with me by email if you have any questions on this. So, my name is Stephen French. I've got the website at stephenfrenchlanguages.com, so that's www.stephenfrenchlanguages.com, and also ALEVELSPANISH.co.uk. Look out for me on YouTube and look out for me on Twitter. Adiós y hasta la vista.